Welcome to Decision Analysis and Resolution Training. Today we are going to talk about DAR process and how that process is implemented at Globant using Jira. We are going to see the objectives and process steps, its benefits, and a case study of decision making using a decision matrix in Jira. The purpose of this process is to analyze a decision in an objective way, using a formal process where different alternatives are identified and there is an established criteria to select the best alternative. Let's start with some Dilbert humor. This process is applicable in a project not only to decisions related to daily management, but also is important to apply it in technical decisions. For example, when alternatives to solve a requirement are considered, when we have architectural alternatives or different technologies that can be used. For technical decisions, this process will be applied by project technical leader and technical director. And in management decisions, the responsible will be the project manager, that will involve all relevant stakeholders. The first step is to identify the problem. After that, a formal decision process involves the following actions: establishing the criteria for evaluating alternatives, identifying alternative solutions, selecting methods for evaluating alternatives, evaluating alternative solutions using established criteria and methods, selecting recommended solutions from alternatives based on evaluation criteria. Next, we are going to see how to implement this, because even though it sounds rather theoretical, the reality is that all of you as project managers make decisions all the time, but most of the times you don't document them. And why is it useful to document decisions? To justify when we make a decision that is really relevant to the project. In the project plan, we will have a planning of this decision-making process. We are going to say in which situations we are going to apply a formal decision-making process and define the thresholds. For example, when I have a risk that have a high impact on the architecture, or when a metric is deviated more than the 50%, or when I have to staff more than 5 people. This planning must be done intelligently so that you do not need to document every decision made in the project, because the management cost will be very high, but also that there is no documented decision. If planning is well done, surely there will arise various situations throughout the project lifecycle to apply this process. One benefit of this process is that it reduces the subjectivity in the decision making and increases the likelihood of having made the right decision, because it forces us to sit and think all the criteria to be considered in making the decision. Among all methods available to evaluate alternatives, from Globant we suggest the using of a single method that is quite simple, a weighted decision matrix, with ponderations for each criterion. If during the project we think in another method to use, keep in mind that this is a guide. In the process and its Jira implementation, we propose this method, but others can be used by attaching the file to the Jira issue. Decision matrix method is a quantitative technique used to rank the multidimensional options of an option set. A basic decision matrix consists of establishing a set of criteria options which are scored and summed to gain a total score which can then be ranked. A weighted decision matrix operates in the same way as the basic decision matrix, but introduces the concept of weighting the criteria in order of importance. The resultant scores better reflect the importance to the decision maker of the criteria involved. The more important the criteria, the higher the weighting it should be given. Each of the potential options are scored and also multiplied by the weighting given to each of the criteria in order to produce a result. We are not going to give more details regarding the mathematical theory of the decision matrix. We will see this directly implemented using Jira. Let's get started. Let's go to Jira, select the project and choose the issue type DAR. In Summary field, we describe the decision we are going to make. Our example is Project Tracking Tool Selection. I put myself as assignee, and then I choose the decision type that, as you can see, match what we had planned in the project plan. In this case, we choose Tool Selection. In the description, we expand a little more the decision to make. We wrote, the project must select a tool for planning and monitoring sprint tasks. Then we complete the criteria, with its descriptions and weight. To complete the weight, once defining the criteria, we ponder from 1 to 10, being 1 the least important and 10 the most important. Since the tool allows a maximum of 6 criteria, not all values will be used. Also, there can be repeated weights. For this example, we use the following criteria: usability, functionality compatible with project needs, cost, open source, performance, and multi-language. Once we have completed all the criteria, we complete every alternative to be evaluated. Not necessarily have to be 4, maybe there are less alternatives. We complete in the issue. Alternative 1, Jira, Alternative 2, Rally, Alternative 3, TFS. Then we will evaluate each alternative for each criterion. For example, Jira, how easy to use is, how high is the cost, is open source or not. Each criterion should be assessed from 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst score and 10 being the best value. For example, the tool easier to use will have a value of 10 in the criterion 1. With respect to cost, a cost 1 is a high cost, while a 10 cost is the lower cost. This exercise is not an activity of one person. Usually, it's done in a meeting with all relevant stakeholders. Soon, we will see how to add these participants in Jira. After completing all the information, we press the Create button. After creating the issue, we open it and we can add as watchers to everyone involved in making the decision. For example, the delivery director, the technical director, the technical lead, etc. Now, we press the Calculate button. It will multiply the value we put on each criterion for each alternative, weighted by the weight of each criterion. The sum of these values is done, and we get a result for each alternative. We should choose the alternative that results in the highest value. We see the calculated results, and the proposal is to choose alternative 1, Jira. To complete the analysis, we have 2 steps left. First, record the time incurred in analyzing the decision. This includes the time it took to define the criteria and alternatives, an evaluation that generally takes place at a meeting with all the stakeholders. Note that if the meeting lasted 1 hour and involved 3 resources, you must log 3 hours. The last step to complete the decision is to press the Close button. In this screen, we complete the chosen alternative. Sometimes, the chosen alternative is not the one that had the highest value. In some cases, although our analysis gave a particular alternative, the client may impose another option. For example, if the best option for us is Jira, but the client requires us to use TFS. In that case, we mark the chosen alternative and write the rationale, or when we would opt for a technology and the customers impose another. Having documented this decision allows us, if we have a problem in the future, to show that the best option for us was another supported by the analysis made. If the chosen alternative is the one that had the highest value in the justification, just put that the alternative is the one with the best score. QCI team review these issues to ensure that the process is being followed correctly. In case you need support for running or document the process, you can contact us and we can attend meetings or help with registration in Jira. All the material we have presented today is available in Globant's process site. For any doubt, we have question and answer spaces. The calendar is also available at the site. Another way of communication is our email qci@globant.com.